Hey, and welcome back to Wild Mythology, home to everything myth, fairy tales, folklore, and legend. For you newcomers, I welcome you to the channel with bread and salt. On today's video, I'm going to list 50 of the most famous mythical sea monsters from around the world. Creatures from the deep, like the Kraken and the Leviathan. Creatures from rivers, like Kelpies and Kappas. And last but not least, creatures from lakes, such as the famous Loch Ness monster. All of those creatures and more will be listed, each with a small description. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so you can keep up with our latest videos. Also, let me know who your favorite sea monster is in the comment section. I'd love to know your opinions. Alright, enough talking, let's get to the 50 sea monsters here on Wild Mythology. Number 1. Cetus. Alright, first up we have Cetus, a famous sea monster from Greek mythology usually depicted as a 40-foot whale or serpent-like creature with numerous flippers and sometimes tentacles. In myth, Queen Cassiopeia of Ethiopia insulted the sea god Poseidon, who sent Cetus to destroy the queen and her kingdom. In fear, Queen Cassiopeia ran to an oracle, who told her that the only way to save her kingdom was to sacrifice her beautiful daughter Andromeda to Cetus. Luckily, as Cetus was about to devour Andromeda, Perseus came to the rescue and eventually defeated the sea monster by turning it into stone with the bisected head of Medusa. Number 2. The Kraken. As one of the most famous monsters on this list, the Kraken is a legendary beast easily recognizable as a humongous squid-like creature that can easily drag down an entire ship into the dark depths. Usually thought to be a creature from Greek mythology, the Kraken's origins actually come from Scandinavian folklore, dating back almost 1,000 years. In popular culture, the Kraken makes many appearances, such as in the movie Clash of the Titans, the video game Sea of Thieves, and my most favorite, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Number 3. The Leviathan. In the book of Job, it said that the God of the Bible created the great Leviathan as a way to demonstrate his power. Originally, he created both a male and female pair in the form of giant creatures with parts from whales, crocodiles, snakes, and sharks. The Leviathans were powerful, and if they had children, then all the other creatures of the world would be in danger. Realizing this, the God of the Bible killed the female Leviathan, causing the male to grow bitter. This bitterness festered over time, causing the male to hate and attack the rest of God's creatures. What makes the Leviathan terrifying is that it's at least 300 miles in length, has the ability to breathe fire, and has impenetrable scales. Plus, it is said only God can kill the great beast. At the end of time, the Leviathan will battle with the behemoth and the God of the Bible, only to eventually be destroyed by God. Number 4. Mermaids. Mermaids and mermen are some of the most famous creatures in the entire world. Mermaids have a huge influence on art and modern media, and practically every culture around the world has a legend about a sea creature with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a fish. They date back to at least 1000 BC and are usually involved in stories about either saving sailors or enticing and killing them. Number 5. Jormungandr. Jormungandr is the world serpent from Norse mythology and probably the biggest sea monster in existence. Being banished to the Earth's oceans by Odin as a child, Jormungandr grew so large that he could stretch around the Earth, allowing him to grasp his tail with his mouth. It is said that when Jormungandr lets go of his tail, the ocean will flood the Earth, allowing Jormungandr to meet Thor on the battlefield during Ragnarok. There, a vicious fight between serpent and god will take place, resulting in the deaths of both Jormungandr and Thor. Number 6. The Kappa. The Kappa is one of the most famous yokai from Japanese mythology. It stands as high as a child on 2 frog-like legs with a turtle shell on its back and 2 webbed hands. It has a human-like face, a beak mouth, and hair around its head with a curved dish on the top of its skull. Sitting within the dish is some magic water that gives the Kappa tremendous strength. The Kappa spends its time around rivers, swamps, and toilets. After challenging and defeating a human in a sumo match, a Kappa will devour the human's bowels after ripping them from the human's anus. The easiest way to defeat a Kappa is by bowing to them. The Kappa will be obliged to bow back, causing its magical water to spill from its head, becoming extremely weak. Once weak, a Kappa will make a promise or give great knowledge to survive. And as the most honorable of all yokai, the Kappa must always keep a promise. Number 7. The Loch Ness Monster. Probably the most famous sea serpent-like creature in the world has to be Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. Famously said to inhabit Loch Ness in Scotland, Nessie has been described as a large creature with a long neck and one or more humps on its back. Other than that, there have been numerous descriptions of Nessie over the years, a popular one being that Nessie resembles a dinosaur or a sea serpent-like creature. Gaining huge popularity in 1933, the Loch Ness Monster has been a huge matter of debate, with many people believing that the creature is real and just waiting to be found. Number 8. The Kelpie. The Kelpie is a mischievous and dangerous creature from Celtic mythology. Described as a black horse-like creature, the Kelpie stands beside or in a body of water, waiting for those to pet it, usually children. Once a child pets or gets on the Kelpie, it will rush into the water, carrying the child to be devoured in a watery grave. Kelpie is also able to shapeshift, usually shifting into a handsome man to attract young women. The best way to recognize a transformed Kelpie is by looking at his hair. If there are water weeds in his hair, you can bet you're dealing with a Kelpie. Number 9. Scylla. Scylla is a monster from Greek mythology who is one of the 2 terrors of the narrow sea pass between the Wanderer Mountains. She was described as a frightening creature with 4 eyes and 6 long necks that could stretch over 100 feet, each with a horrid head that contained 3 rows of jagged teeth. Her upper body took the form of an ugly hag, and around her waist were 6 dog heads that boasted sickly-sounding barks. Scylla was famous for snatching up dolphins, sharks, whales, and especially sailors that traveled too close to her cliff. When Odysseus came into the sea pass, he and his crew chose to face Scylla instead of the second guardian, Charybdis. But Odysseus and his men got distracted by a giant whirlpool as they sailed through the pass, allowing Scylla to grab 6 of the men and devour them instantly. Number 10. Charybdis. Charybdis is the other guardian of the sea pass from Greek mythology. Charybdis was a child of Gaia and Poseidon who helped her father against Zeus by covering islands with seawater. Angered by her actions, Zeus took Charybdis and transformed her into a grotesque sea monster and then chained her to the bottom of the seabed. Zeus then cursed her with an eternal thirst for the sea. So every day Charybdis would suck in and drink seawater, which caused great whirlpools to form around her. When sailors wanted to go through the sea pass, they had to choose either Charybdis or Scylla. When Charybdis was chosen, usually the entire ship and most of its crew swirled to their deaths. Only a few have survived. Just ask Percy Jackson. Number 11. The Bunyip. Bunyips are creatures from Aboriginal Australian mythology that are said to lurk in lakes, swamps, and lagoons. They have many different descriptions, but the most common is a giant sea-like creature with a hippo-like face. They're usually nocturnal, are able to swim swiftly with their fins, lay their eggs in platypus nests, and are known to attack women and children who get too close to bodies of water. Number 12. Akhlut. From the Inuit mythology of the Arctic, we have Akhlut, who is a half-wolf, half-killer whale creature. The hybrid is extremely fast on land and a swift swimmer in the sea. It's highly aggressive and is known to fight and kill men. Number 13. Lusca. The Lusca is a creature from Caribbean folklore that takes the form of a great white shark with octopus tentacles coming out from its body. It's a famous sea monster said to inhabit the blue holes in the Bahamas and is apparently able to move as fast as a jet ski and change its skin color in order to camouflage with the environment. It's said that it's able to grow up to 250 feet and is highly aggressive. Number 14. Umibozu. The Umibozu, or the ocean monk, is one of the yokai from Japanese mythology, usually thought to be spirits of drowned priests. It's said they can be 100 feet tall and usually have a bald black head with large glowing eyes. Their bodies are shadow-like and usually surrounded by clouds or mist. Umibozu are known to appear in front of ships, and if one of the sailors say something negative about the sea creature, then it will demand a barrel from the sailors, fill it with water, and then proceed to drown the crew in it. The only way to escape this fate is to give it a barrel with no bottom. Number 15. Sirens. The Sirens were dangerous sea creatures that enchanted sailors with their bewitching singing. The song would cause an illusion to fall over the sailors' minds and cause them to jump overboard or shipwreck on the rocks. Once that happened, the sailors would discover too late that they were about to become a meal. The only way to avoid the siren's song was to plug your ears with beeswax like Odysseus did, or to play music even more memorizing like Orpheus did with the Argonauts. Number 16, the Hydra. The Hydra is easily one of the most famous creatures from Greek mythology. The Hydra lived in the swamps of Lerna and was described as a serpent-like creature with 9 heads, acid breath, and poisonous blood. After years of the Hydra terrorizing villages around its swamp, Hercules was sent to kill the beast for his second labor. Challenging the monster in the swamp, Hercules learned that every time he cut off one of the Hydra's heads, 2 more would grow in its place. Eventually, with the help of his servant, Hercules defeated the Hydra by cauterizing the neck after he cut off a head. That way a new head wouldn't regrow. Afterwards, Hercules would use the Hydra blood to kill many of his future enemies. Hydra blood, after all, is one of the most poisonous substances of all creatures. Number 17, Cthulhu. Cthulhu is an evil cosmic entity and one of the great old ones from the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft invented the character in 1928 and described him as a towering creature with 2 bat-like wings, a scaly, rubbery body with clawed hands and feet, and an octopus-shaped head with many tentacles dangling from his face. According to Lovecraft, Cthulhu is imprisoned in an underwater city in the South Pacific. But even though that's the case, Cthulhu is extremely powerful and is the cause of the subconscious anxiety in all humans. It is said by his many followers and cults that someday Cthulhu will break free and bring chaos to the planet. Number 18, the Selkie. The Selkie is an interesting creature from Celtic mythology that takes the form of a seal. What makes them so interesting is that they are able to shed their seal skins, allowing them to change into humans. In order to turn back into seals, the Selkie has to put back on the shredded skin. In most legends, a man will find a Selkie's shredded seal skin and hide it. The man will then compel the Selkie to become his wife, and the Selkie will agree because it cannot return to the sea without its shedded skin. If the Selkie finds her hidden skin, she'll take it back and return to the sea, even if she has had children with her human husband. Number 19, Ushi-Oni. Ushi-Oni is one of the most savage yokai from Japanese mythology, having the head of an ox, ripping sharp teeth, and the body of a spider with 6 legs. The Ushi-Oni lives in the sea and will leap onto ships or on beaches to feast on any human in sight. It has the ability to spit poison as well as the ability to make and shoot spider webs. It truly enjoys making humans suffer and will devour its victims in the most gruesome and slowest way possible. Number 20, Rusalka. Rusalka is our evil undead woman from Slavic mythology who lure and seduce young men to a watery death. Rusalkas are women who died in or near a lake or river. Their souls then come back to haunt the body of water they died near. They then entice their male victims with their beauty or voice and capture the men who get too close with their long unkept hair, dragging them into the water and their death. One of the ways to identify Rusalka is that they aren't able to leave the waters they are haunting completely. They have to have at least 1 foot within the water at all times. Number 21, the Bake-Kujira. The Bake-Kujira is a yokai from Japanese mythology that takes the form of a moving skeleton whale. It is several times larger than the blue whale and attacks any ship that is trying to hunt whales. In one legend, a whaler tried to harpoon the yokai, only for the harpoon to go right through the Bake-Kujira. Number 22, Aspidicalone. The Aspidicalone is a humongous sea turtle with a shell that takes the appearance of an island. Its shell is covered in entire forests of trees and vegetation. Sailors usually mistake the giant turtle for an island when it stops to rest. It's only when the turtle awakens that the sailors realize what they're truly standing on. Unlike most sea creatures, the giant turtle has no ill intent towards humans. After all, it's not its fault if silly sailors mistaken it for an island. Number 23, the Incantado. The Incantado is a creature that looks like the Amazon River dolphin, but in truth is actually a shapeshifter that shifts into a man and seduces young women. Another legend says that if you look the Incantado in the eyes, it will bring you a lifetime of nightmares and terrible visions. Number 24, the Grindalo. Grindalos are small creatures with green scaly skin, sharp claws and teeth, and have long thin arms with brittle fingers. They originate from British folklore but have been made famous by their appearance in the Harry Potter books and movies. They usually spend their time in lakes and swamps waiting to grab and drown small creatures or children who pass by. Number 25, the Bakunawa. The Bakunawa is a winged sea serpent from Philippine mythology that is able to cause earthquakes, rainstorms, and eclipses. Legend says that there used to be 7 moons and that the Bakunawa swallowed 6 of them. During an eclipse, people will come out with pots and pans and bang them together, scaring the Bakunawa to spit out the 7th moon. Add that its meal is interrupted. The Bakunawa attacks the loud people and can only be defeated by lulling it to sleep with music. It will slumber in the ocean until it wakes up and tries to swallow the moon again. Number 26, Kirin Crowan. Kirin Crowan is a large sea serpent from Celtic mythology that's so big it's able to eat 7 whales in a single day. Legend says that Kirin Crowan can transform into a small silver fish to hide from fishermen. Its transformation is also used to hunt. When a fisherman catches the small fish in a net, Kirin Crowan transforms back into a sea serpent, destroying the ship and drowning its victims. Number 27, the Megalodon. The Megalodon is an extinct shark that was said to be anywhere from 47 feet to 67 feet. And even though the shark has been extinct for millions of years, legends say that some have survived and are hidden somewhere in the ocean. If that's the case, then the term sea monster would definitely fit Megalodon, an apex predator capable of eating whales and swallowing humans whole. Number 28, Yakumama. Yakumama is a humongous snake that dwells in the Amazon River, said to be the mother of all water creatures in the Amazon. Legend says that Yakumama will attack any living creature within 100 steps of it, and that the safest way to cross the river is by blowing a conch to see if Yakumama is nearby. Number 29, the Devil Whale. The Devil Whale is a giant demonic whale that's capable of swallowing entire ships whole. Legend says that the devil whale resembles an island as it sleeps. When sailors get on the whale and start a fire, the whale wakes up and drags the ship underwater. This legendary whale also inspired Melville's novel, Moby Dick. Number 30, the Ogopogo. The Ogopogo is a famous sea serpent from British Columbia, Canada, that gets its origins from native myths. Said to reside in Okanagan Lake, the natives sacrificed small animals to the sea creature for safe travels across the lake. Once a visiting chief refused to make a sacrifice, but when he and his family went across the lake in a canoe, the Ogopogo whipped its tail on the surface, creating a whirlpool that sucked the chief and his family to the bottom of the lake. Number 31, Kalupalik. The Kalupalik is a terrifying creature from Inuit mythology. She's a humanoid creature who wears a parka, with long flowing hair, green slimy skin, and long bony fingers with sharp claws. She lives under the ice in the Arctic lakes and ocean. When a child walks on the thin ice above her, the Kalupalik will break through the ice, stick the child in the hood of her parka, and then drown the child. Number 32, the Galuchart. The Galuchart is a mysterious creature that can be found around the waters of the mysterious islands of the sun. The creature is round with a turtle shell on its back and has 2 stripes in the middle of its body that form an X. It has 4 eyes and 4 ears, each at the end of its stripes, with a single mouth at the front of its body. 6 arms come from each side of its body, and out of its rear is a rat tail with some tufts on the end. What makes the creature so interesting is that its blood is able to heal, as well as being able to reattach recently non-vital served body parts. Number 33, Champ. Champ is the American Loch Ness Monster and is said to dwell in the Lake Champlain between the states of New York and Vermont. There have been over 300 sightings of Champ, and its most common description makes it out to be a 25-foot reptilian-like creature with fins and a horse-like head. Number 34, Mokole Bembe. Mokole Bembe is a brontosaurus-looking water-dwelling creature that lives in the Congo River. The creature is said to block off parts of the river, creating dams at random occurrences. It's also said that the creature is highly territorial, with reports of it killing but not eating people on canoes and ships if they get too close. Number 35, Amikok. Amikok is a creature from Yupik legend that enjoys hunting in the sea and on land. Akhlut is a shapeshifter who takes the form of a four-legged hairless beast with leathery skin, a tail, and a large rounded head with sharp teeth. Akhlut has the ability to swim through any substance, including the earth. It's famous for attacking kayakers and people on snowmobiles and dragging them deep into the sea or earth. Number 36, Iku-Turso. The Iku-Turso is a half-walrus, half-octopus sea creature from Finnish mythology. He is sometimes said to be the father of the 9 diseases, 9 terrible children who cause pain and suffering to mankind. In the Finnish epic Kalevala, Iku-Turso is described to be pure evil and is known to protect sacred items and to destroy those who try to steal them with his mighty tusks. Number 37, Akhlut. Akhlut is a half-beaver, half-crocodile lake monster from Welsh mythology that attacks anything that passes by the banks of its lake. The creature is incredibly strong, can become completely invisible in water, and is able to cause tremendous floods. When an Akhlut is somehow dragged out of water, it becomes completely powerless. Number 38, Ahweezelt. The Ahweezelt is a creature from Aztec mythology with waterproof fur and a body that's a mix between a dog and a monkey. It has 5 monkey paws, 1 on each limb and a final one on its tail. Legend says that they love snatching fishermen from their boats and have the ability to mimic a baby's cry to lure in its next meal. The hand on its tail is especially strong and is used to strangle its prey. Number 39, the Saze-Oni. The Saze-Oni is a large mollusk yokai from Japanese mythology. When turban snails reach the age of 30, they grow into giant mollusks with the ability to shape change. A famous story tells how a group of pirates saved a woman who was drowning. In thanks, she agreed to sleep with them all, but as she did so, she cut off each of their testicles and threw them into the sea. She told the pirates that she would give them back their testicles if they gave her all their gold. The exchange was made, and before the pirates' very eyes, the woman transformed into a giant mollusk and disappeared into the sea with all their gold. Number 40, the Dobaku. The Dobaku is a half-otter, half-dog creature from Irish folklore. It spends its time in Irish lakes and attacks humans who get too close to the waters. What makes the otter creature so interesting is that legend says its fur is impenetrable and is identified by its blood-curdling shriek. Number 41, Gunakadit. Gunakadit is a half-whale, half-wolf creature from Native American mythology. There's a story about a man killing one of these beasts, only to discover that he can take the form of the creature when he wears its skin. As long as one wears the skin of Gunakadit, they will be able to swim and breathe underwater, becoming a fearsome sea creature. Until, of course, the cycle repeats itself and someone accidentally kills the so-called creature. Number 42, Hippocampus. Hippocampuses are sea creatures from Greek mythology that have the upper body of a horse and the lower body of a fish. They're usually the creatures that pull Poseidon's chariot and are very common to see around Atlantis. Number 43, Ichthyocentaurs. Ichthyocentaurs are the centaurs of the sea from Greek mythology, with the added addition of a fish tail replacing the horse's hindquarters. They have a variety of personalities just like humans and are well versed in underwater archery. Number 44, the Whale of Jonah. When Jonah refuses to do a task for the God of the Bible, Jonah gets thrown off a ship by a storm, only to be swallowed by a whale sent by God. For 3 days, Jonah survives within the whale, praying and apologizing to God. Eventually, God commands the whale to spit out Jonah so that he may continue his task. Number 45, the Nijuravulu. From South America, we have the Nijuravulu, which is a half-fox, half-snake creature with a long tail that has claws like fingernails on its tip. The creature lives in rivers and causes great whirlpools when people try to cross the waters. They also make the river shallow on the banks to entice people to cross. The only way to get rid of one is by the help of a shaman or a sorcerer. Number 46, the Telenusi. The Telenusi is a house-sized leech from Cherokee mythology with the ability to manipulate water. Usually it will create a giant water spout and then use that water to drag people into its domain, where it enjoys feasting on its victims' nose and ears. Number 47, Abaya. From Malaysian mythology, we have the Abayas, who are humongous magical eels. Abayas live in freshwater lakes and are the guardians of all sea creatures within their lake. Legend has it that if someone fishes from these lakes, the Abaya will cause a great wave to drown the foolish human. Number 48, the Muljawanke. From Australian Aboriginal mythology, we have the Muljawanke, which is said to be an evil giant merman. Legend says that it attacks children who play by the water at night, and is famous for attacking ships by grabbing the hull and dragging it down. The only way to stop the creature is by making a startling noise, but a word of caution: do not injure the creature or you will be cursed to die a slow death. Number 49, the Vodianoi. The Vodianoi is a creature from Slavic mythology said to appear as an old man with the face of a frog. It's famous for causing drownings like the Rusalkas, but are calm creatures if a sacrifice is presented to it. When angered, it will destroy human structures and will drown humans and animals, making them slaves in its underwater dwellings. And finally, number 50, the Flying Dutchman. While not a sea monster, the Flying Dutchman is a ghost ship and one of the most famous legends of the sea. Legend has it that the ship is never allowed to make port, and that the crew are men who are guilty of dreadful crimes. They must serve their time on the Dutchman until they work off their crime. In popular culture, this ship has been combined with Davy Jones, the mysterious captain in the ghost ship, making a legendary combination. And there you have it, 50 of the most famous sea monsters from around the world. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. If you're interested in more videos, make sure to check out my Greek mythology playlists, which I'll put a link to down below. If you have any ideas on any future videos I should do, let me know in the comments. Alrighty, until next time on Wild Mythology.